Hey, Commanders Nation. Today we're diving deep into the loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. What went wrong? Who stood out? Who had a terrible game? Check out this complete analysis, and don't go anywhere because today's video is full of emotion and important points for the season. Before we start, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, because here you stay up to date with everything about the Washington Commanders. When the game kicked off on Thursday night, all eyes were on this matchup. Commanders and Eagles, two NFC East giants, in a duel that promised to define paths in the division. But unfortunately, what we saw was a game below expectations for the Commanders. Despite having moments of hope, the final score of 26-18 wasn't in our favor. This loss wasn't just another stumble. It symbolized how far we still are from teams with real chances of reaching the Super Bowl. It's hard to admit, but our Commanders are halfway between being a competitive team and being a powerhouse. There's still time to adjust course, but the clock is ticking. After last week's loss to the Steelers, we expected a more energetic response from the team. But what we saw was a team with little creativity and difficulty in reacting. With a 7-4 season record, the wildcard fight is still a reality. But each loss like this weighs much more when direct competitors pull away. Still, we can't throw in the towel. The schedule ahead isn't so scary. This means that if we adjust what needs to be adjusted, and quickly, there's still hope. The question is, will the team be able to bounce back? We can't ignore it. The offensive line was one of the major weak points of the night. The matchup against the Eagles' defensive line was expected to be difficult, but the problems exceeded expectations. Brandon Coleman and Andrew Wiley, our tackles, struggled greatly to contain the Eagles' edges, while Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis dominated the middle. This performance directly reflected on the offense, which couldn't find its rhythm. Jaden Daniels, who had been playing well, was swallowed up by constant pressure. And if it weren't for Austin Eckler, the night could have been even more disastrous. Amidst the chaos, Austin Eckler was a bright spot. With 8 receptions for 89 yards, he showed why he was one of the best acquisitions of the season. His ability to find space and provide relief for Daniels was crucial in an offense that was practically paralyzed. Eckler was also a difference maker in returns, giving us good field position when we needed it most. He's the type of player who can change a game, and although victory didn't come, his performance was a reminder of the potential we have. If there's something that irritates any fan, it's seeing a team with potential play scared. And that's exactly what Cliff Kingsbury did. Our offensive coordinator, who had been praised for innovation and boldness, seemed stiff against the Eagles. With predictable calls and little creativity, Kingsbury couldn't surprise the opposing defense. Third down conversions were a disaster, and when we risked fourth downs, the execution completely failed. The conservative approach didn't work and made it clear that we need adjustments for upcoming challenges. Against the Dallas Cowboys, for example, we can't make the same mistakes. Will Kingsbury be able to rediscover his creativity? Or are we facing a more concerning performance drop? With a 7-4 season record, we still have a lot to fight for. But this loss brought an important warning. We need to be more consistent, especially against high-level teams. The next matchup against the Cowboys will be decisive for our position in the division and also for team confidence. So, fans, what did you think of this analysis? Can we correct course in time? I want to know your opinion here in the comments. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any details of our journey. The loss to the Eagles wasn't just a setback on the scoreboard, but also a blow to team confidence. After a promising start to the season, we now face a sequence of games where consistency has been an issue. This raises an important question. Is the pressure to meet expectations weighing on performance? Jaden Daniels, who had been showing great evolution, seemed hesitant at crucial moments. This could be a reflection of the poor protection from the offensive line, but it's also an indicator that the team as a whole needs to find ways to stay calm in high-intensity games. With the Cowboys in sight, mental resilience will be as important as tactical strategy. While the offensive line had a performance to forget, the defense showed flashes of more solid play. Jonathan Allen and Payne managed to pressure Jalen Hurts on some occasions, but not enough to contain the Eagles' offensive machine. The biggest problem was the secondary, which struggled to keep up with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio tried to adjust the coverage, but explosive plays continued to happen. The feeling is that we're one step away from becoming an elite defense, but crucial adjustments are still needed to be consistent. The schedule favors us in the coming weeks, but that doesn't mean it will be easy. Games against divisional opponents like the Cowboys are always unpredictable, and the smallest error can be costly. The extra week of preparation before the next game will be essential to adjust the weak points. The offensive line urgently needs reinforcement, whether through internal adjustments or even exploring market options. The offense, under Kingsbury's command, must return to being more creative and unpredictable. We can't let this loss define the rest of the season. Fans, we know you feel the pain of this loss as much as we do. But remember, we're still in the race, and the playoff dream is still alive. The team needs our support now more than ever. The game against the Eagles showed that the Commanders are on the right track defensively. The unit led by Joe Witt Jr. was solid for most of the game, holding one of the league's most potent offenses without a single touchdown in the first 3 quarters. That, my friends, is something that needs to be highlighted. Although the final result wasn't what we expected, seeing the defense performing this way against such a strong division rival gives us reason to believe in better days ahead. And speaking of which, linebacker Frankie Luvu was simply sensational. You can feel the impact he brings to the field on every play. He's the type of player that gets fans on their feet. Luvu had impressive numbers. He recorded 10 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. What a performance. This is the kind of showing that reminds us why General Manager Adam Peters was so insistent on bringing him in. A fierce player with an incredible work ethic who's proving to be one of the team's best acquisitions in recent years. His intensity is contagious, and you can see how the rest of the defense feeds off it. Can you imagine what this defense would look like with Marshawn Lattimore already integrated? But hold on, we'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, it's impossible to discuss the game without highlighting Jayden Daniels' performance. The young quarterback, who has been a revelation since being selected 2nd overall in the draft, had his worst NFL game so far. It was a tough game for him. The Eagles' defense completely neutralized his running ability and constantly pressured him, disrupting the offense's timing. It seems that conservative scheme didn't help much either. Was it a night to forget? Maybe, but it was also an important learning experience for the kid. After all, things don't always go as planned. And for those wondering, is the rib injury affecting Daniels? Well, he didn't use it as an excuse. But let's be honest, facing the Eagles' defense in prime time and in the cold of Philadelphia isn't easy at all. Still, it's not time to panic. Every rookie quarterback faces these ups and downs. What matters is how he responds. And the next challenge, my friends, is right away against the Cowboys. Another name worth highlighting is rookie cornerback Mike Sainristil. Who here didn't have doubts when the team bet on him in the 2nd round? Well, the kid is silencing the critics. Against the Eagles, he had his best performance yet. He faced 2 of the league's best wideouts, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and held his own. Of course, nobody can completely shut down this duo, but what we saw was a courageous technical player who's growing each week. That's exactly what we want to see from a rookie. And we can't ignore Marshawn Lattimore's importance in this context. When he's on the field, pairing with Sainristil, this secondary has everything it takes to be one of the most feared in the league. And here's extra praise for head coach Dan Quinn's work. He came in and transformed this team, creating a unit that's already performing well above expectations. Sure, adjustments are still needed, especially on offense, but the progress we've seen since the start of the season is undeniable. What do you think about Quinn's work so far? As a fan, I'm confident in what he's building. Now, we can't ignore Quinn's questionable decisions in the game against the Eagles. At times, situational football left something to be desired. Like on that 4th down when he opted not to kick a field goal that could have changed the course of the game. It was a risky play that backfired. And the offense, which is usually explosive, simply didn't show up. This leaves us with that question. Was it an execution problem or a planning issue? It's something the team needs to fix urgently, especially before the Cowboys matchup. Despite the loss, the Commanders' season is far from a disaster. With a more favorable schedule in the coming weeks and some rest now, this team can still surprise. What we saw was a resilient group that doesn't give up easily. And if the offense can find its rhythm again, there's no limit to what we can achieve. But the question remains, will we see this reaction already against the Cowboys, or will we have another game full of ups and downs? So fans, what did you think of the Commanders' Week 11 performance? Will Daniels bounce back and lead the team against Dallas? Or will the defense keep carrying the load while the offense adjusts? Leave your opinions in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share this video with other fans. Let's analyze and cheer together through every step of this season.